Let me mention another experience I had. And that was, some years ago. I was working with the Boy Scouts of America at the time and was at a court of honor. For those that don't know what that is, that's where the Boy Scouts get their Eagle Awards or other awards. And there was a Formica table set up in the gymnasium, and I was seated at the end of the Formica table, and there was a flagpole there with a flag next to me. And the person who was speaking was the Boy Scoutmaster from Monument, Colorado. And he said that his Boy Scout troop had wanted to have a very special American flag. So they'd bought one, gold tassels around the outside. They had it flown above the state capitol, as I recall, and they had it flown above the national capitol in Washington, D.C. When it came home, they said, hey, let's have it go up on the space shuttle. So they contacted NASA and said, would you take our flag on the space shuttle? And I'm sure they told them that space comes at a premium in space. You know, it's not a lot of room for souvenirs in the space shuttle. But they took it. They took their flag. And he said, you can't imagine how proud our boys were from their schoolrooms to watch the shuttle take off and go up in the sky on TV, and then they saw it explode before their eyes. And the Scoutmaster said he called NASA a couple of weeks later and said, did you find any remnant of our flag? And they said no. He said he called every week for several months, called and called. Nothing. And then come September, he said he was reading in a newspaper some of the debris found from the Challenger disaster, and they mentioned something about a flag. So he called and said, did you find our flag? They said, as a matter of fact. And so they got together. NASA came together with the Boy Scout troop and presented the boys with this plastic box. And they opened it, and there was their flag in perfect condition. And then he said this. He said, that's it on the flagpole next to Mr. Romney at the end of the table. And I reached over, and I grabbed that flag and held it out. And it was like electricity ran through my arm. Because for me, that flag represented the men and women who put themselves in harm's way in our space program, in our military. Those who reach for learning, who live for something bigger than themselves, who look for discovery, who put themselves out there. It reminds me of the people who, when they graduate from college or from high school, say, you know what, I'm going to put aside my career for a while. I'm going to go into the military, serve our country. Reminds me of the dads who are working 2 jobs so they can make enough money so their kids have the kind of clothes the other kids are wearing at school. Reminds me of those single moms who are wondering how they can put food on the table at the end of the week and scrimp and save to be able to do so. The couples who say we're not going to exchange Christmas gifts among ourselves because we want our kids to have Christmas. This is America. This is who we are. We're a people who live for big things, who care about the future, for our kids, for our nation, for liberty. This is a critical time for America. It's a time when we have to decide what we're going to be. President Obama wants a bigger and bigger government, more and more encompassing, more and more intrusive in our lives. That's not what makes America America. It's freedom that drives America. It's free people.